Welcome to the Everyday Awesome Project, where we bring you inspirational stories and game-changing strategies to live your most awesome life. Hey, superstars, welcome back. Polly here.
And Sam Pruitt. What's up, beautiful humans?
Oh, it's so good to see you. And you guys, this episode actually, we're calling it Talking to Your Pain. And it's because my dear Samantha here is actually in level 9 pain for the last 3 weeks. So this is no bueno. This is no bueno. We don't like doing topics like this, but you are living through something to give an experience. And so you can use it as a teaching moment at the same time, right? Because
100%.
you're discovering a lot from this in pain inserting itself in your life, in your body, and in your emotional system. So
Yeah.
talk to us like what is pain? Like what is the source of this? Tell us what you want. I don't know if you want to tell a little bit of the backstory of what, where your pain is, if you want to just tell people that, but like what is pain, body,
Yeah.
mind?
Just so they understand why this is relevant to me right now and why I feel so drawn to, having this conversation. Of course, you and I love to have all kinds of hard conversations. It's kind of what we do. But in this instance, I wish I was not having this conversation, but nonetheless. So I am in pain because I have injured my back. So in hindsight, I can really see it was building through my Ironman training last year, a lot of tightness, a lot of things that basically I was working through and working with. And it wasn't anything at a level that stopped me, obviously, from completing an Ironman. So there's that. But then I went into my winter training regiment that was more oriented towards CrossFit and lifting and heavy things and still doing some running and whatever. So I actually injured it back in August, helping somebody move up and down stairs, carrying heavy things because I'm a strong person and I like to do those things. So that was the initial injury. And then I tipped it over the edge mid-September at CrossFit, deadlifting. And we pick things up off the floor all the time, but in CrossFit, you can also do things very quickly. That's kind of the dynamic of the workouts. So I was lifting heavy things off the floor quickly, repetitively. So many, many reps. And basically my back just went pop.
One too
I,
many.
I
Yeah.
dropped the weight, I hit the ground, and that was it. So since that day, and that was September 13th, sorry,
Mm.
um, I've been in debilitating pain, debilitating.
Mm.
And basically what has happened now that I've had x-rays and MRIs and doctor's appointments, whatever, is L4 and L5 are herniated. So what happens is the little soft, yummy stuff in between our joints, it has actually popped and is oozing out. So that's a very high level out of 5. I'm a number 4 in terms of severity of it. And then S1 is the root where the nerve is. So this stuff is flowing out. It's hitting a particular nerve pattern down my left leg. It's called S1. It's in the sacral joint. And so that nerve is now compressed and getting rubbed and agitated and raw and all kinds of things. So it's traveling down my leg, through my hamstring, through my glute, through my hamstring, into my calf, and actually down into my foot.
Mm.
And so it makes it really impossible to basically sit, to drive, to function at any significant level. And so I'm dealing with that.
Sleep.
And it's
Yeah.
been crazy. Yeah. Sleep, anything,
Yeah.
anything. And
Wow.
so today we're going to talk about not me and my misery, but like how I have dealt with it,
Yeah.
perfectly imperfect, and how I'm working through it, and how can I use this to be of service of other people that might be suffering in similar ways or in any way, shape, or form. Frankly, how can you talk to your pain is us having a conversation about what happens in the body and how to really resource your
Mm.
way through it.
And I think that's a key phrase right there. Like, we talk about self-investing, right? Like self-coaching, self-investing, like you take responsibility. Like a lot of people just hand over the responsibility of their pain and their life and their
Mm-hmm.
well-being to people that just don't have the vested interest that we ought to, right? And so nowhere in this conversation do we by any means say not get support. Like don't talk to a professional. If you are in some pain, please seek out any, Western medicine, Eastern medicine, anything to relieve your pain. And what we're going to talk about is you've been having those like you were trying to get a shot yesterday and, it didn't happen. So like you're having steps to get your appointment to see if this is a surgery route or whatnot. So take those steps. And along the way, you still are in this pain, right? Like it's not gone. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the point of this conversation is, okay, I'm in pain. I'm taking steps to relieve the pain from a medical perspective, from a, relief perspective, but there is still pain. Okay, so how do I function? How do I function and not let it take me down? Because, as I was studying this, one of the things I saw was, first you and I were like, who in the hell is living their life and not taking action on pain? Like,
Yeah.
why would you tell, like, pain management? That's just like, those two don't belong together. Like, pain
Right.
resolution,
Resolution. Exactly.
as
To
best you
be
can.
to be swallowed by it and basically give into it is you can't function. I mean, your entire life would just be consumed by this on the daily, and that's not a way to live. And I would say also, you started to kind of go there for a minute, is like listen to the small signals.
Mm, mm,
Right? These are messages from your body to your brain, and we'll talk about how that works, those pathways. But so I should have also honored myself more initially with these subtle
mm,
pains that were popping up. And I thought, of course, I'm training at a high volume, a high level for like an Ironman. Yeah, there's going to be some pain and discomfort, but there's a difference in like general soreness and fatigue from a hard workout or a challenging whatever alls. But
mm,
then there is structural
yeah,
pain in the body that cannot and should not be ignored.
mhm.
So if people have something that's a 1, 2, 3, or a 4 now, or it exasperates and then it comes back down, please address it.
Yeah.
Please get professional help and find out what is actually the root cause of that.
Yeah, and one thing as you were telling me the story when it was happening, I had two other friends that I think they both had, well, one had, it turned out to be a meniscus thing, and one had a calf strain or tear or something like that. And they too quickly got into action without doing enough like rehabilitation or,
Mm.
whatever, and re-injured, and so, and like you're a little bit of that, like you had an injury, or overstrained it, if you will, with the moving, the lifting the boxes, and then maybe, well, and I mean, CrossFit just has so much going on, so like whatever
Yeah.
agitated it that day, too much weight, certain whatever, so just noticing, like you said, listen to the body's cues. If it's like, I'm not ready, don't be doing this. So, but tell us how this brain, so we think of the pain as in your leg, but it's actually technically not in your leg, right?
No, it's actually technically in my lumbar spine,
Well, it's in your
L4 and
brain.
5, right? And but then it's the nerve that is being attacked and how that nerve is communicating to my brain.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, the injury site is where it is functionally or structurally or whatever, but the pain signal and communication is in my brain. So let me just read this real quick and kind of give people an idea, because maybe they've never had pain. And honestly, I wrote a blog about this, and eventually it will make its way to Substack when I get my act together, about how shocked I am about this pain, because I've had so many incidents over my lifetime of experiencing pain, either at my own will and accord and decision making, ultra running and all kinds of crazy things,
Yeah. Yeah.
but even many, I've had surgeries, I've had all kinds of stuff, but I've never experienced it like this. So it's interesting for me to have this sort of shock about it.
Oh, I don't know this whole world over here. Like you
What
just,
the hell's going
well, and
on?
then you, Miss Wikipedia, like I gotta get to the root, like get up in there, and you discover this whole new world that now you're a resident expert on. So share
You
with
need it.
us
It's my body. It's my job to become
your
an
domain.
expert.
It's your
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So here we go. So when the body is experiencing pain, it initiates a rapid chain reaction involving the nervous system. We'll talk about that, and other physiological responses. Specialized nerve cells called nociceptors detect a stimulus which sends electrical signals through the spinal cord to the brain. The brain then interprets these signals as pain, right? So it's just a signal happening, but
yeah.
there's no pain yet until the brain decides it is pain. The brain interprets these signals as pain and activates a stress response, which can include increased heart rate and the release of adrenaline. Simultaneously, the body can produce its own natural painkillers called endorphins. By the way, I really wish it would do a better job at that.
Right?
But I can understand, for me, especially like an ultra running or Ironman or whatever, I was living off of these endorphins for hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
So maybe I sort of worked through my bank.
Well, I was gonna say, and the body's like, no, you need to address this. We're not just gonna soften the feeling of this because if we do, we know what Samantha does. She just gets right back in the gym and like, no,
Heck yeah, dude.
don't
The
give her those
pain.
like those natural drugs. We gotta keep her going down the
Yeah.
track to get this taken care of.
Totally. So these pain pathways, the sensory nerves that I just talked about, specialized pain receptors at the site of the injury. So for me, it's in my lumbar spine and in my SI joint, my sacral joint. Detect damage from things like heat, pressure, chemicals, um, blunt injury, trauma, right? And convert the stimulus into an electrical signal. The whole body, by the way, is energy and electrical signals, people, in
Yeah.
case you didn't get the memo.
Yeah. We may
Okay.
think it's skin and bones and muscle and cells, but it's all energy at the
We
core
are all
in a
energy.
field of energy. Yeah. A big
So
old
of course we're transmitting that energy, right? So we're transmitting the signals travel along the nerve fiber to the spinal cord. You can just envision this happening in the body.
yeah.
The spinal cord is the processing agent, right? The signal is relayed to the spinal cord. Here, it can be amplified or dampened
Hmm.
before continuing to the brain.
Wow.
Again, it's deciding, am I going to amplify this because she's in danger, life threatening, or am I going to dampen it? Oh, she's just running an ultra and she only has 20 more miles to go. Chill out, suck it up. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting, right?
Right. Yeah. We can
Yeah,
take this kind of pain. It's not going to kill her, you know. Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
she's
And
in
just
danger. If she goes too far, she goes from a 4 to a 5 and what you're talking about, like game over. Like no legs. Can't feel those legs anymore. Like how about that?
Yeah, there's a thing in the brain called the central governor, which is basically that's the tipping point of
Mm.
is this life or death,
Mm.
or is she fine? And so we play with the central governor a lot in endurance and in sports and races and whatever, because we are pushing the boundaries of some very uncomfortable things. And we have to be telling ourselves, A, we have to assess what is real, but then tell ourselves, okay, you're fine, you're safe. Yeah, this freaking hurts like hell, but it's gonna go away. It will pass. You are
Not gonna
fine.
kill you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not going
It's
to
not
kill you.
there's acute pain, but what is it when it's like life threatening? Like fatal. This isn't fatal.
This is not fatal. Yeah. So the brain interprets all these signals, right? When they reach the brain where it's processed, they interpret as a conscious subjective experience of pain.
Mm.
So the brain will be deciding for you people what is all going on. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a physical and mental response, of course, the stress response. The brain triggers the stress response, which does lead to all these physiological changes in the body, your breathing rate, your blood pressure, your heart rate, your body's ability to even deal with whatever the injury is.
Mm.
Adrenaline is released, right? There's an increased demand of oxygen. So, for example, because I've been fighting pain now for weeks and weeks and weeks, I'm exhausted. Like I'm physically
With low
exhausted.
effort. Yeah, like compared to your normal
Yes.
output, right? Yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally. Reflexes, of course, in immediate severe cases, a reflex action may occur before the brain has even fully processed the pain, such as pulling your hand away or getting away from the situation that's causing the pain. And then there's, of course, this inflammatory response. Rah, rah. So that's what's going on with my nerve now. It's so inflamed,
Mm.
and all my movement or activity
Just
is creating more inflammation, right? Damaged tissue releases chemicals that cause inflammation, swelling, the influx of immune cells. Hallelujah, which is a key part to the healing process. That's another reason why your immune system is so critical.
okay. Yes. Yes.
So
But
key.
in something that's so like you've tipped it so far over here, immune is not gonna, like there's structural things that like you said, some people I know someone who I don't know what level of herniated disc. You're at a 4, right? But they had a hernia and it went back, it like healed itself, you might say,
It
right? Like,
can.
right,
It
right.
can. If you're level 1 and 2 and the actual fibers don't break,
Hmm.
so the little cushion
Yeah.
doesn't break, it just sort of pops out,
Oops. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it can pop back in. You can actually literally get it to pop back in and then move on about your business. And actually, a lot of people live that way a lot.
Fine. Yeah.
It doesn't mean you don't have to change what the hell you're doing because it popped out for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you have to
Strengthen
go,
some
whoa.
stuff. Don't do
Yeah.
that move and
I'm an
strengthen.
expert in that now. I've watched 100 physical therapy and neurosurgeon videos, all these things. Hey, you got that? You should just call me. I'll tell you what to do. Just go on YouTube. Okay, and then this is really interesting, cognitive and emotional factors. This
Okay.
is where the wheels fall off the freaking bus, dude.
If you let it. Yeah. If you let
And if you
This
don't
is where you,
recognize
this
what
is
is
where,
happening.
yeah, this is you where your consciousness can intervene. The rest of it is subconscious, right? The body is doing, the brain
Exactly.
is doing all this stuff. Like the brain, like we don't heal our, like I don't look at my hand and go, heal that wound, heal that wound. Okay,
Mhm.
close that up, right? I don't do that. That's all
Yeah.
at the subconscious level. It's managed by lots of other things, right? But what you're about to talk about, I just want to insert, this is where our consciousness, you listening, can, this is where you get involved, right?
Yeah, yeah. It kind of reminds me of the in parenting when your kid falls, trips, or does whatever, and you're like, "Hey, do I see blood? Do I see a broken bone? No. Okay, yeah, we're good. Moving on, right?" Or we go, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And we do this whole drama, and then the kid is crying and hysterical and all these things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You can do the same thing
Totally. Good
for
analogy. Yeah, that's
yourself,
good.
you
That's
know?
good. Yeah.
Cognitive and emotional factors. Your perception of pain is influenced by many factors, such as your past experience,
Mm.
your mental state, your environment. Oh, dude.
God, I'm just
So,
like picturing all the ways that this like goes out into the world. Like, wow.
and
Wow.
then long-term pain. So currently I'm, down that path and I'm going to get a handle on this as quickly as possible. But nonetheless, it's moving slower than I'd like. If pain is severe and prolonged, it can change how the nervous system processes pain signals, potentially leading to other conditions.
You don't want
In
that.
other words, it can get away from you.
You don't want that. Yes.
Right. As really as a form of pain PTSD, because your body will be easily triggered by all
This
these
is where
other
you insert
things.
yourself. Yep. You go, oh no, not going down that road. No.
That's right. Persistent pain can cause the nervous system to become more hypersensitive, which is a survival mechanism that can lead to
Mm.
abnormality over time. Hell to the no, yo, hell to the no. So I did run around and talk to anybody and everybody that I know that's ever had a back thing, right? When I was trying to figure out what was going on in mine. So I initially self-diagnosed that I had something different. And
Yeah.
that's part of why I kept going
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
going to CrossFit. I thought I had a piriformis syndrome from running an Ironman. So anyway, I'm not excusing my shenanigans, but I talked to a lot of people with back stuff, and even recently after I got my MRI results, and many people, and this just blew my mind, were like, yeah, that I've had that, or I have that, and I'm just living with it because I'm afraid of surgery, or I'm afraid of that, or this or that, or whatever, and all the stories, right? And I was like, but wait, what's the quality of your life now? Because they have repeatedly re-injured, because if it's at this level, it does require some actual assistance, surgery, or whatever the process is you're all going to go through. It's your own decision. And then the quality of their life deteriorated, and now they're functioning at 50%. So even for me, it's been whatever it's been now, 6 weeks ish. I'm losing cardiovascular fitness, I'm losing muscle, I'm losing overall health and wellness just in that short period of time.
Well-being, you know. Yeah.
Yes, right. So that's not okay.
Mhm.
It's not okay to say, hey, suck it up and just live with it.
Mhm.
So I really want people to mostly feel empowered that irrelevant of what the thing is,
Mhm.
it can be dealt with. This is the year 2025. There is so much available knowledge, wisdom, resources out there, and we can get into that. But you have a couple points that you want to make before we move on.
Well, I just want to like reinforce what you're pointing to, which is like this is where you insert yourself in your own well-being, right? I think there was a period or a phase pre-internet, whatnot, where medicine looked like there were schools and places where people went to learn about the body and get medicine dialed in, and they became the subject matter experts. They wore white coats, and then they had people come to see them when things didn't work right, and you go in and
Mhm.
whatever. Well, that's not where we're living today, right?
No.
Like all that information is widely available. And a lot of that actually is probably antiquated compared to the things that people self-develop and, learn and study because people
Mhm.
aren't stuck in just that mode. So just knowing that you have so much information, just as you're doing right now, at your fingertips, and video and talking to people and conversations and whatnot. It's like, take this into your own hands. You and I have a phrase that we say all the time, is how your life feels, right? So this is like, how your life feels has something to do with how your body's feeling, right? So
Oh, yeah.
your body is like, I ain't doing good over here. Like, so I have a little tickle in my throat this week, not feeling 100% energized, right? So I am adjusting, I'm taking some things differently to manage my well-being, manage how this physical state is, because I have studied, I learn, I talk to people. I'm like, hey, what can I do? Because I've discovered, like you, like, this is what immunity gives us. This is how this helps. When you have good sleep, this is what it offers you. And so everything that we're pointing to here is, on a conscious level, insert yourself into taking your life back, right? Like,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. I mean, obviously, you and I stand for empowerment, and in empowerment is education. It's resources. Resource yourself to be empowered. I'm not saying I haven't utilized Western medicine. There's a time and place for that, right?
Totally.
Of course, 1,000% yes.
Yeah.
But when you go into those systems, and boy, have I had a lot of experience with that lately, not just myself, but my brother is in a cancer battle, and I have other loved ones with some health issues. So it's been a bit of a
Yeah.
crazy train.
Yeah.
And so I've been really watching and paying attention and trying to be, to the best of my ability, an advocate for any and all other people around me, including myself. So you go
Get
into
to the
those,
source of it, yeah. Get,
well, and if you decide to go traditional and go into any of these places where those white coats live, be educated when you walk in. I literally go in with a notepad. I have about 20 things, if not more. I make notes in my phone, whatever. I do research. And then I go in, I go, so anyway, X, Y, Z, and here's what I want to accomplish today. So I go in literally with an agenda into these meetings.
yeah. So being curious and collaborative is how I look at those
Collaborative.
opportunities, right? So they
Right.
have a perspective and they have some information. You're ultimately the one making decisions about your body. And if you're not, then take that back. Don't be doing that. Like, I mean, I see people all the time taking prescriptions from well-meaning doctors that,
Mhm.
if they really study this thing, and I mean, I've seen with my own mom, I think part of her heart attacks this year were, what do you call it when two medicines
Mhm.
collide or something like that? Like, I think that's
Mhm.
what had her have a heart attack, and it's like a well-meaning doctor gave her one and another one, and so you have these anyway. So I think most of the people who listen to us are doing this. So we are just going to move ahead and think that, like, you're already doing this. And what we want to help you with, I think, is the most rich part of this conversation, is you're about to get to, or we'll get to here in a moment, which is like, how are you navigate? Like, so one thing I just wanted to bring up, which is, I'm so glad you're a Buddhist now, because helping you in so many ways. Like, it's rubbing off on me virtually also. So two of my dear friends, which are friends of yours also, Terry and Linda, both
Okay.
earlier this year for totally different reasons. Linda was mold, and Terry's, I can't remember what it is, have an itch histamine response in their body that they have been, quote, living with. So Linda had mold in her house, got into her lungs, whatever. And so she's like detoxing, and she left the house and, went
Good.
up to the mountains, try and clear that air, and, cleaned all her clothes, fixed the house, all that stuff. But there's this perpetual itch that she's
Mhm.
got on her skin in various places. I don't know how much, whatever. It's getting better, that she's managing, whatever. And then Terry as well. So they both got this like itch. And I meet with them and I'm just like, how do you do it? Like, how do you, and Linda, probably the most evolved of all three of us, is she's like, I'm working through the phases, right, to get to gratitude, as any Buddhist like you would do, right? And it's like, she's like, I'm not there, but she's gone through, it's like the phases of grief, or the phases, whatever, the pissed off at it, the shouldn't be happening, the like,
Exactly.
what do I do about it? Get into action, the, acceptance, resignation, whatever. And now she's like leaning over into the gratitude, if you, she's not there, like I said, but she's like, I brought this into my body to teach me like
Mhm.
ultimate gratitude for all suffering, all things that come in this, and transform it, right? And transform it. So,
Totally, totally. And you can do that in phases, and I'm sure she has. So, like, just using a quick example of yesterday. So, I drive all the way 2.5 hours to the coast. I spend the night at my stepdaughter's. I drive another 2 hours in traffic. I'm in excruciating pain laying down in the car. So, technically, my husband's driving me to get to a doctor's appointment to see an expert. And there's no appointment. So a mistake was made along the way there that basically that appointment wasn't mine to be had. So now I'm standing in this office literally feeling like, somebody just took a baseball bat to me and get this news. So at that moment, of course, I was shocked and devastated, but I had a choice to make about how I was going to respond.
mm,
Right. So, of course, there was nothing this person could do. The doctor wasn't even in for the day. They were in surgery or whatever. So I did accept a later appointment, but I immediately went back to the car, regulated my nervous system for 15 minutes in the car, and got my wits about me. Okay. And then dug into my toolbox about, okay, I need to just accept what just happened and move forward to the best of my ability with plan B and
mm,
then maybe plan C and so on. So made a few phone calls, made another strategy to, again, a couple of days from now, go to a different doctor, et cetera, et cetera. So I kept the power within me
yeah.
to move past this rather than just allowing it to consume me and feeling desperate at that point and, powerless.
Mhm,
I didn't. I took action, and everybody can do that, right? So I didn't solve to the pain immediately. That's a longer process, but I can solve to a lot of things along this journey
mhm.
that I do have power and control over.
And the thing I just want to point to is some people think that the response that you had when you heard no appointment should not happen. Like you
Hmm.
shouldn't be shocked, like, oh, I should just go jump right into, oh, everything's fine, right? No, like the brain doesn't work that way. So just know that, like, that little arc that it's going to have of, like, holy crap, this is, and you just dive into, like,
The abyss.
yeah, some sort of emotional swamp, if you will, and you're like, ah, this is never going to get solved. I've been dealing with, whatever shows up. Give it some space, right? Give it some
Hmm.
space. And then you brought your toolkit out and you're like,
Hmm.
let me work on me so that I'm not just hanging out in the swamp and feeling bad emotionally, physically, spiritually, all that stuff to the
Yeah.
best of my ability, you know, get the boat, rebalanced, if you will, on an emotional level. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we quickly picked something to distract ourselves because now we had to drive 3 hours home. Right. So then it would have just been more pain, all these things. It was like, okay, we're going to go literally walk around IKEA for an hour and look at random ass things or whatever. But it was literally just to like be distracted and allow these things to kind of move through the body too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? Because all of those feelings were in the body. That's an energy I was carrying, and I needed to move that through before I could move on with my day.
So good.
So that's basically number one on the list is whatever the circumstance is, but we're talking about pain specifically, you have to look at it head on.
Mm,
You have to be honest about what it is. You can't reject it or be in denial about it. That will not be helpful.
mm,
It will continue to cascade.
mm.
Okay, so even if it's band-aided, and of course they immediately wanted to put me on opioids and medicate me, and I didn't accept that. That was not going to be a choice that I personally made. No judgment, people, but that's not the right choice for me. I needed to work with this and work through this and really understand it, right? That is a salve also.
Mm.
That is a way to calm a wound or a pain also, is to be empowered with knowledge. So look at things head on, don't reject them, accept them, and then work with them. Okay. Understanding what's really happening. Knowledge is so damn important. I need to understand in my body, what in the hell does L4 and 5 do? What is the S1 nerve root? Where's it going? How does it work? Like those things, I needed to have that knowledge and wisdom so I could understand. Then processing the emotions, like
Mm,
we just discussed,
mm.
not allowing the emotions to get trapped, not ignoring them.
Yeah.
Yes, I was pissed off at myself, and then I was very sad, and I was all these things. I have races and I had work projects I had to cancel. I have all these things called life that I was not going to be able to do.
Mhm.
I'm still in that, right? So that's real emotions around all of that. But allowing myself to have those emotions and move through them, to
Mm.
comprehend and move through those. Again, using my tools of resiliency to understand and look at it from a perspective and allowing myself to process those emotions rather than reject them.
And processing them, could be talking about them. Some of it, like you
Mhm.
said, like walking, like movement can just help them move through the body. So it, gets the energy that's trapped from those emotions. It can
Yeah.
be journaling, it can be cognitive, whatever. It can be screaming, like you said, like there's times where you're crying or upset or, just Tourette's or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah,
get that,
totally.
get that out, get that out. Yeah.
Totally. I'm going to be really interested tomorrow when I go for this epidural. This is a pain management person, and they are only able to administer this epidural. So, anyway, if they also have psychological or talk therapy or some other way
And
to help
network.
people.
Yeah.
Yes, because that's imperative.
Yeah.
Like I have these resources, people like you in my life, right? I can create these dynamics myself, but many people don't have that. And it is a required element of the healing process.
Mm. Mm.
And of course, if they don't have it, I will be telling them they need to add this to their repertoire and we'll have a conversation about that.
Good, good.
All right. So becoming empowered, not powerless. We talked about that, right? Building an A team.
Well,
Dude.
I just want to say one thing about that. So that is, that serenity. So what's the line?
Oh, the serenity prayer,
Yeah, right. So what's the line though that you just said? Like,
becoming empowered.
not,
Hmm.
yeah, becoming empowered.
Yeah,
So
not
that's,
powerless.
yeah, a phrase that aligns with that is what, you know, accept the things I cannot change,
Yes.
change the things that I can. Like, where can I act? What's
Yes.
outside? So this appointment didn't happen. I can't make the doctor come here, right? Okay. You get into like what is in my control? Like what do I have choice about, right?
Mhm.
Some of that's inside. You went out to the car and you took some choice and you know what? Give me a hot second here to like I'm going to
Mhm.
choose to take back my power and how I feel. I'm not going to let myself wallow in this and spill this all over day. I mean, sure, you were talking about it or whatever, but like, I'm not going to ruin everybody's day around me because this is painful. I'm going to get it out. I'm going to process it. I can take some actions, make some phone calls. Maybe I can learn a little bit more and whatever, get support. So that's what I mean. What I hear, like, don't be disempowered, be empowered is like, what can I affect right now? So,
Yeah, and this one that I just started mentioning about building an A team, besides practitioners to help you deal with the pain, depending on what it is relationships, right? It's relationships like you and I have. I have a relationship with my partner, right? Like you can talk to people, and you really want to have the right people to talk to. So, for example, you could be in a family unit or in a workspace or whatever, where they're going to actually pour gasoline
mm,
on this.
mm,
Oh my God, they're going to catastrophize. They're going to do this whole thing and they're going to feed you
yeah,
the opposite of the nutrition that you need,
mhm,
right? You need people to stay calm, to be intelligent and help you find resources, whether that's information or otherwise. You and I do this all day long for other people.
mhm,
So it's really interesting when it's us doing it for ourselves or other
mhm,
people sending it. And I have some people I lean on, like, hey, they're trying to give me this drug for nerve pain. I know who to talk to about that drug. I know how to research that drug or whatever. So again, those resources are available. But when you build your A team, you really need to not just say, hey, this one doctor is now in charge of my life and my healing. So whatever they say, right? Because then I would just be on opioids right now, laying in bed
well, and
for
here's
the
the other
last
thing.
6 weeks.
If anybody's had any kind of experience with interacting with a doctor or getting a procedure or something, it doesn't happen like in days. It happens in weeks and months, right? So whatever
Mhm.
you're experiencing will prolong it if you just turn it over. It's like, well, we got an appointment with the so and so in 3 months. And it's like, and in the meantime,
What?
get up to
Dude.
stuff. Yeah, like if you, look at what's to get up to,
Yeah.
talk to people, have conversations so that, like you said, you go in there informed, you're collaborating, you're curious, whatnot. Maybe they have
Yeah.
some information to add to it, or they are the source of, like for you, either pain relief that only a writing prescription physician, epidural kind of thing, or a specialist surgeon could deliver. Otherwise,
Mhm.
well, what else is out there? Like
Mhm.
what else is
Mhm.
out there? So,
Yeah, if I had done that technique, I basically would be laying in bed on opioids right now. And one of the other persons I saw, basically said no activity. The only thing that feels good for me right now, and this has been for 6 weeks, is to actually walk at a low intensity
Mhm.
and mobilize my
Mm,
tissues and
mm,
my structural systems
yeah.
because it brings blood flow there, which brings oxygen.
Mm, mm,
And by the way the spine works, just like the lymphatic system, there's no pump.
yeah.
Okay. So we are the pump.
Ah,
The pump is the movement of our body to bring oxygenated blood and ideally healing elements
nice.
into the spine
Right.
and the pelvis and the joints and the tissues. So if I were just doing zero, I'd be incredibly depressed.
Yeah. I was
Right.
just going to
So
say the
now we have
empowerment.
another problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you'll add to it the mental cognitive of, oh my
Yeah,
God, I'm so helpless. I can't do it. Instead, you're like, I'm going to do what I can do. Oh, look at me walking. Oh, I actually feel better walking. I'm taking care of myself. Look at how good I'm being to me. Like all of that can show up, right?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so also plan the time out. So one of the things I did very quickly, literally the day of my diagnosis, I probably told you about this, but I signed up for an online course I've been wanting to take for almost 3 years with Dr. Stacy Sims, who I just freaking love. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have all this extra time because I cancel work projects and I can't do this and blah, 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 whatever. So I can get some education that I'm fired up about.
Invest.
So
Yeah.
I did that and I cleared the decks. Nothing else was going to be important for this period of time
Yeah.
except for my healing
Yeah.
modalities, whatever that was going to look like. So
Yes.
I had to clear the decks.
And that
And
may require a team. Like you have,
yeah,
some people have a lot of responsibilities, whatever that
hmm,
looks like, and
yeah,
so calling in a team to support you. Like this isn't forever, or maybe it is, the thing that you're dealing with may be ongoing. So look at your team with that lens, but
hmm,
find a team to support you in, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. Oh, I need some help over here. Or can you do this for me? Or what does that start to look like, right? You really went kind of inward. It's like, you know what? Because you do a lot out in the world and you're like, I'm going to do a lot of me for a while, which is beautiful. You're giving yourself that gift because I know on the other side of that, it's all going to come out and be shared and offered. And, the world is going to, reap the fruits of what you're studying. So, so
yeah.
good. So
But
good.
even funny things like I can't literally put my shoes on. So I haven't put my shoes on for 6 weeks. So currently my husband is putting my shoes on. Okay, that's kind of hilarious and comical, but also beautiful and lovely. Like, why not? Why not
Well,
have people in your life be part of this process? And rather than, oh, damn it, I got to do it or whatever, like making angst around it, making drama around it, you know?
yeah, and it's team and caregiving. Like I remember when my stepdad, he had Parkinson's and could
Mm,
no longer button his shirts, and it's like, and we'll never be able to button, he's passed away now, but like for years couldn't button his shirt. So he never, so my mom was always putting it there to put his clothes on with him, or whatever the things are, those things. So, I mean, there's going to be a time where we're all going to need some help, right? And
totally.
whether it's short term, temporary, in the middle of a 50 years old, 60 years old, or whatever, or a little bit longer at the end of our life, right? Whatever that looks like, may it be as short as possible, any, things. But it's great to rely on people. Like,
It totally, I'm laughing because, my brother's in cancer treatment and he's got neuropathy and all these things. So last time I was there, I cut his toenails, I shaved his face. I did all these things that I would never have done for my brother. It was wonderful. It was kind of hilarious.
yeah,
But it was like, it needs to be done.
sweet.
And
It's very,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's very sweet,
It's
you know?
cool. It's cool. We were laughing about it. I wanted to paint his toenails. He didn't get on board for that, by the way.
All right.
So plan time out, clear the deck, stay engaged, and then find simple pleasures.
Mm,
So I mentioned to you, and you're not surprised in the very least, but I can't barely get in the car and drive. It's excruciating. So for very small amounts of time, and I have ice everywhere and all these things. It's so
you're hilarious.
ridiculous,
You
but
are
you
hilarious.
have to be finding comedy in it, literally.
Hmm.
And when I get in and out of the car, literally it takes enormous amounts of time. But anyway, I still go for my morning latte to my favorite coffee shop because it's a treat for me. It's a simple pleasure, but then also it allows me to be engaged with
All
the
the
world.
story. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Like,
these are my people. This is my life is still normal. I still do these things, even though I can't do all these other things. I'm doing things that really are bringing me joy. Simple pleasures
yeah,
go so far. It's incredible. And
yeah.
this can be, for anybody, it can be music, it can be whatever the thing is. Like, don't give up everything
Mm,
because this one piece of your life is impacted by this pain.
mm.
Again, don't let it swallow you whole. You're
And I want to
still a normal person.
And I want to and just encourage, there's so much that people lean on the internet slash social media for, to distract and stuff like that. And I would just want to insert and say, use, if this is something you're facing or someone you know is facing, to open up a doorway to something else. Like what else? Like you still, like you said, your pleasure is connecting with people and the joy of the coffee and all of that and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you take up painting, you take up
Mhm.
just enjoying music, you sit out on your porch or whatever you can do. Like, don't go to that default, like, oh, I'll just distract over here, right? Like, there are other things that are probably very close wanting to be experienced by you. And if you just look around a little bit, there are simple pleasures in lots of domains everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just being outdoors and sitting on the porch or whatever, or listening to the birds, like all of the little things that maybe you were too busy before to do.
That would be,
Guess what?
that's
Now
what
you have this great gift.
I'd be doing that. I'm sitting here and outside my office, the window, there is this one plant that grows in my garden, and it's this giant, like green, like it looks like a, I don't know, dandelion or something. So it's got all these green things, and it grows big and it grows big, and it's like almost to the height of the house, and then it puts out these little tiny yellow flowers, and I'm like, all of that work, these little flowers at the top. I'm like, that's kind of like a massive effort. Those must be really important flowers to whoever need those bees or whatever needs
Yes.
them or whatever. But just taking in that joy and the wonderment of there's
Mm,
so much around us. Our natural world is just amazing, amazing. So
it is amazing.
I
It
love it.
is
Well,
amazing.
I am so appreciative, and I know our listeners are, that you took this time while you are not feeling well to transmute, what you're going through and all that suffering into contribution. And, hopefully someone was touched by this and got something that they're putting into their life. They're having a reframe. They're going to take a different action. They're going to pull something out of this that is a
Mhm.
gift for them that gets their power back into their body and their domain, and they feel better. They feel more inspired and encouraged to, yeah, be more like Samantha. Look at her. She's over there in level 9 pain, but she's not just letting it take her down. So
No,
that's,
I mean, I have my moments. I got to be honest. There's moments that are pretty horrific, and
yeah.
I just work through them. Like for me, the number one takeaway for the audience would be understanding that, again, and we've talked about it in prior episodes, your nervous system is the key
The
to
kingdom.
handling and managing this conversation with
Mm,
pain. So you
mm,
need to understand how your nervous system works, and you need to work with it and support it,
mm.
help to regulate it, right? Because otherwise it will become so dysregulated through these pain pathways and it'll get away from you. And that's not necessary. You can definitely have agency over that.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you're getting your shot tomorrow. May that bring
Ah,
you delicious relief, and whatever this journey looks like, we're all here for you. I'm here for you. You have a team. You have all the love. So glad you're taking really good care of yourself. It means so much to see you as well as you are. I know you're not,
oh,
you're 100%, but as well as you are. So
thanks, lady. Thanks,
yeah,
lady.
yeah. All
Well,
right.
remember, people, remember, people,
Oh,
how your life feels is more important than how it looks.
yeah, and every day is your opportunity to find your awesome.